Remember working really hard to unlock really cool stuff in video games? Man, those were the days. There were so many too, and some of them are more recent than you'd expect. Today we're looking at 10 of our favorite traditional unlockables in video games. Starting off at number 10, we have the Hadouken and Shoryuken weapons that you can unlock in Megaman X 1 and 2. To get these awesome Street Fighter Easter eggs as Mega Man weapons, you need to complete an Infamous challenge, get all of the upgrades, then kill yourself 5 times at the end of Armored Armadillo's level. Then you get the iconic Hand Blast from Street Fighter. Hell yeah. Ken's Shoryuken is a little easier in Mega Man X 2, you just need to find an incredibly well-hidden path with all the upgrades. It's worth it though, just to see these little ways that Capcom references other games under their umbrella, and they still do it in their games today. Next up, let's talk about Dead Space 2 and the Foam Finger of Death weapon. This hand cannon is actually badass. Beat the game on the hardest difficulty, which is hardcore mode, to get this ridiculously silly but ridiculously powerful gun. I'm glad we decided to put this on the list because it's probably one of the best examples of a fun old school unlock that is literally nothing more than a flex. Sure, it doesn't need ammo, it can literally explode enemies, but really it's about being a stupid thing that is funny and makes you happy. And that's the biggest reward, right? The standard fire is called Bang Bang, and the secondary fire is called Pew Pew Pew. You know this because Isaac says it as he fires. It's unlimited ammo, like I said, but it's also got a pretty decent area of effect and splash damage, but no real reticle for aiming at stuff that's further away. But the range is technically pretty unlimited, it seems. Also, melee attacking with it is just as powerful. This thing is totally dumb and goofy, but it's also something you get to really enjoy the fruits of because you earned it. Dead Space 2 is not easy, especially on the higher difficulties. Moving on to number 8, when you complete all 120 shrines in Breath of the Wild, a special location will unlock with Link's original gear. It's one of the best armor sets in the game, and it's awesome because, again, it's Link's original gear. You can kind of replicate the look throughout the game, but if you want the real shit, like 100% authentic shit, you gotta unlock this. It's not the hardest thing to ask because doing the shrines is a ton of fun and one of the best aspects of the game, but there are some damn tricky ones. Either way though, this gear set is really cool to have for obvious reasons. It's very bold of them to essentially make the classic real Link look to be an end of the game thing. Like you're signing up for a Zelda game and you pretty much want to look like Link from the start usually, right? Not here, but I think it paid off because earning the full classic Link gear is that much more satisfying. Coming in at number 7, Resident Evil 2 Remake really takes things a step further in a good way with the hidden tofu missions. After beating the game, you unlock 4th Survivor mode, and beating that difficult mode, which isn't the easiest, you'll unlock a series of tofu missions. These are great because they're even more challenging and give you a ton more replay value. Tofu has been a legendary unlockable from the early days of the original PlayStation 1 Resident Evil 2, and to see him get his chance to shine here really made me happy as an old school fan. I can't believe I got this far without acknowledging that Tofu himself is actually a giant hunk of tofu. This is similar to a few other bits on this list where the unlockable really serves as a big, ridiculous flex over anything else. It doesn't even make sense that zombies would want to take a bite out of tofu, but I guess, hey, whatever, right? And at number 6, you probably know about this one, but it's a cool recent one that we loved. In the newest God of War, collecting a series of special stones throughout the world powers up a special gauntlet, giving Kratos an increasingly powerful energy blast. This was something that people slowly discovered almost as a cool side objective a few days after the game was released, and it was a really nice surprise to basically have a side quest where you can build a damn Infinity Gauntlet. You probably know exactly how this works because everyone and their mother has seen Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame by now. The story of a big purple man who bedazzles a magic pimp glove to destroy the world, or something like that. And at number 5, normally you're stuck on the ground in Final Fantasy 15, but if you complete the game and complete a convoluted, completely secret series of random quests hidden in certain parts of the map, you can craft a special upgrade for the car, allowing it to transform and giving you complete control. You'll actually be able to take off and fly around the map, and it was totally awesome. Eventually, the game did add all sorts of options for the car, like the ability to drive it off-road, but in the early Final Fantasy 15 days, getting this flying car was a huge deal. The flying car is a great unlock because it's earned traditionally and it actually changes up the game quite a bit. Sure, it may break it a little bit, but it's such a drastically unexpected thing after finishing that it really comes as a nice surprise. If you never got to experience this, I recommend going back and checking it out if you did play Final Fantasy 15 close to launch. It's got so much more added to it now, and I think it warrants revisiting the game, and a big part of that is seeing all the vehicle stuff you may have missed. Moving on to number 4, the 2002 Spider-Man movie licensed game wasn't as good as the legendary Spider-Man 2 game, but it did have a cool surprise unlock. Instead of playing as normal Spider-Man, you can unlock the ability to play as a Green Goblin in this older Spider-Man title. Instead of web slinging, he flies around on a glider that launches an array of weapons at enemies, making him play completely different. He has his own special second story mode too, although it's not much to write home about, and technically you're playing as Harry Osborn, not Norman. It's weird. Anyway, to unlock him, you beat the game on hero difficulty, and then you got him, or just use a Game Shark. It's that simple, but it's worth it. Flying around on the glider is almost as much fun as the antiquated swinging around mechanics that game had. But really, that must have taken a long time to build in a whole other playable character with a few differences, so we commend them for that. I know it was like 18 years ago, but hey, good job, guys. Coming in hot at number 3, we have the Halo 3 Hayabusa armor. Man, this was the armor to have in Halo 3. I remember seeing players running around with it and getting insanely jealous. Yeah, the body and shoulders are cool, but it was all about that helmet and the katana. I remember when I got it, I couldn't believe that I had actually unlocked it. It wasn't easy either. You had to unlock all the skulls for the helmet, and you also needed all of the achievements to get that katana, although I think the requirements did change later on. Unlocking all the achievements was also the way to unlock the security helmet, also known as the Marathon helmet, because it was a helmet from Bungie's first game, Marathon. But yeah, this armor was definitely the coolest unlockable armor in Halo 3, and I kind of really hope that it pops back up again in Halo Infinite. Moving on to number 2, Metal Gear games have always had cool unlockables, starting with stuff like the Infinite Ammo bandana and the Stealth Camo in Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid 2 also has some really good unlockables as well, and some weird ones. I think my favorite were the wigs. Wigs were unlocked by holding up soldiers and making them shake to drop dog tags, with there being over 200 to collect. Collecting a certain amount unlocks certain wigs, and each wig has a different ability tied to it. There's the brown one that gives you infinite ammo, an orange one that gives you infinite grip, and the blue one that gives you infinite O2. There was Stealth Camo to unlock too, obviously, but the wigs always stood out as an interesting way to bring back the infinite bandana but make it work for Raiden. There's also the Shaver unlockable, which is something you can only find on harder difficulties, like right in the beginning of the plant chapter, and you hold on to it until you meet Pliskin, and Raiden gives it to him, and for the rest of the game, Pliskin, or Snake, is clean shaven for the rest of the game. Just some normal weird-ass Kojima shit, you know. Finally, at number 1, we have Goldeneye. For speed running levels in ridiculously short amounts of times, you'd earn cheat codes for Goldeneye on N64. And these cheats were legendary, dude, and generally did a good job of changing up the game and making it more funny, goofy, and endlessly enjoyable. Some of the best ones were Donkey Kong mode, which was like Big Head mode, but with goofy gorilla arms and bodies. There is invincibility and infinite ammo, and my personal favorite, Paintball mode. You'd unlock this one by beating Dam on Secret Agent in under 2 minutes 40 seconds. There was Turbo mode where everything moved faster. There was Tiny Bond mode, which pretty much tells you what it is, and yeah, it's hilarious. You could also make it so all enemies have rocket launchers. I think GoldenEye got to a point where the cheats were so fun and game altering that almost everyone who had an N64 played with at least one cheat enabled. With stuff like Donkey Kong mode, how could you not? And we've got one more for you as a bonus we couldn't squeeze into the top 10. Final Fantasy VII's Knights of the Round. This is the biggest, most over-the-top and powerful summon you can get in Final Fantasy VII. It's found on Round Island in a cave that isn't on the map, but isn't too hard to find, but you need a gold chocobo to get around there, or else it's inaccessible. The actual act of getting the gold chocobo is a bit of a pain in the ass. You can go through the whole breeding process sub-game and figure out the right combination, or you can fight the big-ass optional boss, Emerald Weapon, and receive it as part of a set from the Calm Traveler. It's worth it because using it is like an oh my god moment. Every Knight of the Round Table reimagined in Final Fantasy form come on screen and do a big awesome attack, including, most importantly, King Arthur, who really kicks some ass. It's a very cool thing, and as a young player back in the day, it was so much fun to stumble across, and it's a perfect example of the fun unlockables we've been talking about for the last 10 minutes. And those are some of our favorite unlockables in games, but we want to hear from you, so meet us down in the comments and let us know what you think. What are some of your favorite unlockables, whether they're from an older or newer game? And as I'm sure you already know, hitting that like button really helps us out. And if you're new here, subscribing is a good idea because we put out videos like this every single day. As always, thank you for stopping by to hang out with us. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.